I'd like to welcome everybody to the Prima Access Control Prima Premier training this morning. As you know, this is the first of many trainings that we will be offering that are called part of what we're calling the Prima Premier certification for Prima installations and access control. Basics of Prima Premier before we dive into this are Prima Premier certificates are required to have 2 different sessions of the 2-hour detailed training. So this is our first one of the year, and we'll be doing more throughout the year. They're on our calendar, which I'll be showing you here on the new Prima Access Control website. The perks of becoming a Prima Premier certified are, the biggest perk is a 5+ quantity pricing on all orders, but also you're going to receive a little bit more detailed technical support. We're happy to help you draw up or graph out jobs that you're going to be doing and giving you feedback with those. So there's just some perks to it. The biggest perk being the pricing model that you'll receive with Prima Access Control. And what I feel is extremely important is you are going to be able to get really in this webinar a look at basically a 1 to 2 door installation, which then can be pushed out to as many doors as you need to, going through the process of setting up the IP address for the Prima Access Controller, all the way to managing users, setting up groups, running reports, all of those things. So it'll give you the confidence as you go to a job to be able to set this up, which it's not a hard install, but we wanted to give it to you visually and really walk you through the necessary steps to be able to say, yeah, okay, I feel comfortable with this Prima Access Control. So a couple of things to know when purchasing Prima Access Control. The Prima Access Controller comes in 3 different styles in 2 different door systems. So the 3 different styles are the TCP IP, which is the Prima that we have connected here, which is just running your hardwire network cable from your network switch or network input into the access control system. Like I said, which is what the installation here has done. Then you have your power over Ethernet, which does away with the power supply that you see there at the bottom of the DIN rail box, and gives you the power and the network connectivity you need directly from the switch. And as all you guys know, it does have to be a power switch in order to use our power over Ethernet access control system. So that's your second option. And then your third option is the wireless, which is our most popular option. Now, to explain the wireless to you so you can kind of get an idea of what it is. The wireless is not a wireless connection from the card reader to the access controller. The wireless connection is from the network switch to the access controller, which is actually a pretty big deal. So let's say you have a door that's in a hard location where you don't want to run. Most people would put the access controller in the IT room, and then they don't want to run their card reader, their mag lock, or their strike, or whatever it is, take all of that information into the IT room, because that's a long run and can get costly. So what we've done is we'll have you take our access control system, put it at the door, you put it above the drop ceiling, put it somewhere where it's comfortable for you and your customer. Wire your card reader to the Prima Access Controller, and then your mag lock and your strike and your request strike, so all those things directly to the access controller. That is what's wireless. You don't need the network connection. So it really does away with really long runs of wire and cabling in hard areas. And it works. It really, really works because we've built in, the brains are all in the Prima controller. So if you lose network connectivity, it continues to work. It will continue to work. You'd notice it wouldn't work when you logged onto the software and said, oh, hey, you've lost your network connection, reconnect to dump data or upload data. So that's the 3 options you have, and those options come in both 2-door or 4-door, expandable up to 1,000 doors. When you purchase the product, and again, we're gonna dive into the detail here in just a minute, just kind of giving you an overview for purchasing. When you purchase the product, you'll have the option of those controllers we just talked about in either this housing or a metal housing, and then the range of the size of the housings differs as to what you want. So if you've got a larger install where you want to keep all of the centrals unified in one housing, we'll have an offering for that. So you can choose both the metal housing and the plastic housing, which is seen here. I'm going to show you all, you can see here on my screen, the primaaccess.com website. This is a website that we released last week, and this is really the area where you can come for everything you need with Prima. There are a couple tools here that you'll find very helpful with the initial installation of Prima, which you'll have to use on the Prima installation. Okay, so I'm going to dive into this. So the primaaccess.com is the website that will have the tools that you will need to start up the installation. So let's say you've called in and you've ordered a two-door, let's start basic, two-door TCP IP access control system, the most basic unit. You receive the unit. Now you have two options for pre-configuring the Prima access controller. You can either do it on site at your customer's site, or you can do it at your office or somewhere off-site. The main important thing is, because this is an IP-based access control system, you will need to change the default IP address that comes with the Prima access controller to an open IP address that your customer has given you. So the way that we're going to do that is if we go to downloads on the primaaccess.com, you can see here that we will now have some options. We show Prima downloads for the demo software, the discovery tool, and then we have some tools options. So the demo software, as you know, which I'm hoping many of you have done, is the area where you can go in and actually play with the Nova Pro software that comes with the Prima access controller. It is a web-based software. So by clicking on that hot button here, you're taken to our demo software site, and by using that username and that password, you're able to log in and go in and add users and groups and really become comfortable with and familiar with the software. So that's what the demo software tool is. Now we've got the discovery tool. The discovery tool, like I mentioned, is the area where we are going to go to pre-configure our IP address. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this is done. I'm going to click on the discovery tool, and it's going to open up, and it's going to ask me to keep this file. And then I'm going to go ahead and open it. So you can see now that my my discovery tool is saying, okay, you've got the IP 192.168.0.31. I am finding this Prima access controller on your network. So I mentioned there's two ways you can do this. The first way, if you were to do it before going to the job site, is because the Prima discovery tool is going to locate any Prima access control systems that are tied into the network at which it's looking for. So for instance, I'm in my work network here right now where I have a Prima access controller installed in the back, and it's plugged into our switch, and so it's saying, okay, I see this Prima access controller. Now, I could also pre-configure it by plugging in a network cable directly into a laptop computer, directly into the Prima access controller, and by pulling up the discovery tool. It's going to show the same thing because it's connected directly back to a laptop computer, which is on its own network. So you can either do it by plugging in the laptop directly to the Prima access controller, or you can take it to your customer's site, plug it into their switch, log on with one of the computers that they have that's connected to the network with this discovery tool, and then find it this way. Every Prima access controller comes with the same default IP address, 192.168.0.100. That is the number that will pop up when you first open this discovery tool. Then you're going to go in, and I'm going to click on Change IP Address. And I've already changed this one, so it's telling me I can't change it again. But when I click on Change IP Address, another screen pops up that will say, change your IP address, and it gives you old IP address and then what do you want your new IP address. And that's where you're going to fill in the IP address that your customer has given you. So you'll take that, you'll put it into the new IP address, and you'll press Save. Now, when I press Save, you can see down here at the bottom it says Scanning and Pause. This is always scanning and looking to see if the IP address has been changed. When you press Saved, you will wait on this screen to let the scanning go through its process, and then it's going to change this IP address to the new IP address that you have set. That's how you know that it's actually taken. So you can see my new IP address is 192.168.0.31. That's what I changed it to from the default, and it's scanning and seeing that's what I've saved it as. So if you have a bunch of these that you're going to be doing, you can either RS-45 connect them together and only create one IP address, and they can talk to each other through the RS-45 data connection, or you can go through and change the IP addresses of them one by one if you want to allocate that many IP addresses. So you have both of those options with this system. I'm a bigger fan of changing the IP addresses and letting them all communicate wirelessly. It works, and the sending and receiving data is quicker than over RS-45 and daisy chaining them all together. But it's personal preference. So this is the way through this central discovery tool that you're going to pre-configure the IP address to an open IP address on the network you'll be working. And again, that's found on primaaccess.com. So now that you've got the discovery tool done and you've got the IP address set, now we could jump into the actual hardwiring and installation of the product, keeping in mind that that IP address that you've set is the IP address that you can see here that you will type in to access the software. And I'll tell you more about that here in just a minute. I wanted to first go over real quick these other tools. You'll see that we have some more tools under the download sections of the primaaccess.com. These tools are extremely helpful for importing large files. If you have a big customer who's going to be using a lot of names and a lot of PIN codes and all of those things, I would definitely recommend these tools. So the first tool that you'll see here is called the Prima Card Converter. As we've mentioned to many of you, and since all of you are going through the certification, it's important to know that we are in the process of, this system currently can do both Wiegand and MyFair protocol and RS-45 protocol with our Prima readers. And to allow our Wiegand to work, we've come out with what's called a Wiegand converter, which basically takes your Wiegand converter, allows you to plug it into the RS-45 inputs on the central, and then you connect your data 0 and your data 1 and then your power directly to this Wiegand converter. Each Wiegand converter can hold 2 doors. You'll have your power supply at the bottom, and then you have a 2-door Wiegand converter or 2 Wiegand converters depending on the central that you get, if it's 2-door or 4 doors. And those are the same size as that small power supply at the bottom. They'll be pre-wired, and then you can just plug in your data inputs. Now, we are coming out with a Wiegand Central, which is going to do away with those Wiegand converters, which will be nice. But for the moment, we don't have that, but we still do have the Wiegand capabilities. So, as for right now, the way that our Prima controller sees the card numbers, the 3-digit facility code and 5-digit serial number, is a little bit different. So if you're logged into the software and you show a card with a 3-digit facility code of 077 and let's say a serial number of 12345, the card conversion into our Prima at this moment will show a number that we're not familiar with. So what we've done is we've put together a Prima card converter tool. And this tool, and you can download it when you get some time, this tool is what will allow you to take the first number in your sequence of the 3-digit facility code, 5-digit serial number, and plug that in here, and then it will calculate what we call the Prima number. The Prima number is the number that you will put in for the user. So when you go into the user, and I'll show you all of this, you'll go in and you'll type in that number. So you can mass upload our Prima number, and that way when someone shows the card, it will be Quinn Coford entered the door, and the number doesn't really matter anymore at that point. So the Prima card converter tool is an important tool. This is going to be done away with in 3 weeks to a month when the Wiegand Central is released. Then you'll input card numbers with the same way you do on any Wiegand access controller, 3-digit facility code, 5-digit serial number. But for the time being, we wanted to give everyone access to Wiegand, and so that Wiegand Prima card converter tool is the way to do it. We will, just so you can all know, send out cards, fobs, or transmitters, whichever ones you need with your Prima access controller, with the number, the Prima number on the box, so that your customer doesn't have to go through this and you don't have to go through this. We'll go pre-configure it for you and send it out, so all you have to do is type in the numbers, so that's easy. The second one is the Prima user import tool. This is an Excel spreadsheet that instead of making you create one, you can just open this up, and it's a template that will allow you to mass upload users. So if you have 100 users you want to put in, you can open up this Excel spreadsheet, type in all the information that it's going to give you, and then just press upload, and it actually uploads it for you. So if you just press upload, you'll see your computer think for a minute, and you won't even see the conversion. But then when you log into the Prima interface, you'll see that everything is uploaded into the system for you, and that is an extremely useful tool. And that's the Prima user import tool. And again, you can click on that and use that. And that is just a template and an easy upload tool for adding users. Adding users if you don't want to do it one at a time. That's the way to do that. So again, primaaccess.com is the website where you can go on and really get access to all the tools and all the information you need for Prima. And it's a good tool to have. So now let's take a look at the installation. What we did for the central is we wanted the installation to be as simple as possible for you as the integrator to wire it up and really be in and out of the job as fast as possible. So you'll see this diagram that we have here. Now it's important to keep in mind that the power supply that comes with the Prima Access controller is a 4.1 amp power supply, which you can see here on the right hand side. So that is enough power really to power a maglock or a strike or a request to exit, all of those things. And all of the specifications for how much power you can put on these is given, but 4.1 amps is quite a bit. So we recommend that you power as much of the accessories that you have on the door directly through the Prima Access controller, and it has the inputs to do that. So for instance, we can see here, and each central has this sticker, so it's pretty easy to see. We can see here how they're broken down. So this is a 4-door TCP/IP controller. So you've got door 1, and you've got your inputs along the top row. Door 2, again, the same inputs. And then it gives you a breakdown right here down the middle of what each of those inputs is. So for instance, you can see here we have T plus and T minus. Those are the transistor outputs for a request to exit, for a door strike or a maglock. And it shows here that you can have 500 milliamps at 12 volts. That's how much current that can hold, that it can manage. You've got your normally closed, your common and normally open relay here. Your request to exit with a common, and your door monitor also piggybacking off that common. Then you've got your plus and your minus and your R and your RA and your RB, which are RS-45 connections, which is either what your RS-45 readers or keypad are going to plug into, or what your Wiegand converter will plug into to allow that to work. So each door has these same inputs and this same sticker, which allow for simple wiring. Many times door monitor is not used, but you can track, if you plug the door monitor directly into the Prima Access controller, you can track if that door is open or closed, and with that you can set off alarms, internal alarms, to let the customer know that there is a door that's been held open or forced open or something like that. So that's the way you can see that. You can see also the inputs here at the bottom, and we kind of give you a diagram for where all of this would go. So we've got on door 4, we've got our RS-45 reader, we've got our strike, we've got our request to exit, and our door monitor, and you can quickly see where each of those goes. Now, I mentioned that if you don't want to give each central its own IP address, you can RS-45 connect each of them together, and those inputs are here. And so you have a lot of inputs, and then we also do give you a additional relay that you can use, normally open, common, and normally closed on each central, just in case you need it. So just a quick look at the wiring, but the wiring is very, very simple on this setup. And then you've got your inputs for your battery backup. The wiring is extremely simple. As you know, most wiring for access control is the same. Now, there are 2 buttons that allow for resetting of the central. So if you remember, when we went through and we looked at my central discovery tool and we were setting the IP address, it gave me an alert that said, you've already changed your IP address. It can only be changed once. Well, that's true in a sense. It will pop up that so someone's not just going in and changing the IP address every 2 days. But as the installer, you can change the IP address as many times as you need to. And the way that that is done is by following these indicators on these reset buttons on the Prima access controller. So if you hold down the left button for 10 seconds, this red left button here, you'll get 2 quick blinks on the LEDs. That means that the IP address has been reset to its original default IP address. By clicking on that, you're able to then go back to your discovery tool and change it to whatever you want to change it to again. So let's go ahead and dive in now to the software. This is the wiring, and again, the wiring, like I said, is not something we wanted to focus a ton of our attention on. We really wanted to get detailed with the software, so that's what we'll do now. So let's go ahead and jump into the software now. So you'll see that I have logged on to the IP address that I set for my Prima access control system. So I've got 192.168.031. Now this can be accessed remotely by port forwarding the IP address. I have not port forwarded this IP address. This is just something that I'm connecting to on my network. But all of these systems can be accessed remotely by simply port forwarding the IP address. So what I did is I just logged on to any web browser, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, whatever it is, then I typed in the IP address. Now, an important thing to know is, let's say you have 5 Prima Centrals set up on one job, one network. The first central that you log into, so for instance, the first one I'm going to log into on this job is 192.168.031. That one defaults automatically as the master central, which means any updates you give to that, any updates you push into that central, push to all of the other centrals. So that's important to know. If you've got a lot of centrals, then you're going to want to say, okay, which one do I want to be the master? And then you're going to want to remember that. So every time your customer accesses the software, instead of going into 5 different IP addresses and making 5 of the same changes to 5 different centrals, they will log into the one that has been set as the default master, give the updates to that, and then push them out automatically to all the rest of the centrals on the network. Now, the good thing about that is the ease of use. The other good thing is that you can still access individual centrals. So let's say something happens to the master central and I lose connection, or it goes down or blows up or something. Then I can go into any one of the other centrals I have connected to the network, that job, log into that one, and back up from that central all of my information to re-put on the new master central. So it's a lot of backup. It's backup on backup with this system, the way that we've made it. All of the data, as we told you, is being stored on the access controller itself. So a lot of our competition, when they say wireless, the problem is if you lose network connectivity, you can't get in the door. The rules stop working and all of those things, and they'll say we have emergency cards or something like that. But our system, because any information you push out to it is saved on the central itself, it will continue to operate normally with all the rules and parameters you've set, even if the network connection is lost, because it's all saved. And while the network is down, you're still saving all of the events and tracking who's going in and out, up to 1 million events, so that when the network comes back up, it will pop up and fill up your events calendar, and you can still see who was going in and out of the doors at the time the network was down. So that's really nice. So when I first log on, and every time I log on, you'll have 2 options. You have Start Nova and Start Nova Drive. Start Nova is the application we're going to use for computer usage. It's a nice user interface for the computer, and the Start Nova Drive is our app. We do have an app. It's not in the App Store. It's found here. The reason for that is because we want it to work on any smartphone device. So if I was loading it on a tablet or a phone, I would click on Start Nova Drive. It's going to be the same login credentials, username, and password. And it's going to pop up in an app form, which means no point in Zoom. So it's not hard to manage, it's not hard to read, it's not hard to make updates because it's in an app format built for your phone and tablet, and this is a really nice feature. So because I'm logging on through my computer, I'm going to go ahead and click Start Nova, and it's going to ask me for my username and password. The default username for all systems at first is sysadmin, sysadmin, and the default password for all 4 systems is sys, the number 4, capital admin, ADMIN with a capital A. I'm going to go ahead and click Login. And the first thing it's going to do when it has me log in is it's going to ask me in a prompt right here, Click here to change the default password for increased level of security. I'm going to ask it to not show me that again, but you would go in there and then change the main username and password for the top administrator. And the top administrator has access to do whatever they want in this software, and then there are different degrees of administration you can give people, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. So the main screen that we're going to see is basically just a quick dashboard where we can get a quick look at what is going on with our system. So the main screen we see here is the latest events that has gone on. And you can go down, you can scroll down here and just see a quick view if you need to of what's happened recently. If we look over to the right-hand side, this is one of my favorite tools with this software and something that makes it extremely user-friendly, is basically a quick look at anything that is out of the ordinary and a quick look at what your software has. So you'll see, and this is a brand new install. We have not done anything with this controller and have done that for a reason, so we can all learn it together. You'll see that it's showing, okay, there are 0 doors on the system. Well, I know for a fact, because I was the one who installed this, that I have 2 card readers installed on this 2-door controller. They're just not been found yet, which is an important thing to keep in mind. Total users in the system is 1. That is the number that will always default, and that is the system administrator system, which you see here, which is basically just the name that is always in there as the default if you ever get locked out. Total number of registered events is 37. It's got my time and all those things. Now these tools here are what I really like. So if I ever had a central or a reader that was disconnected, it's going to pop up and show me that and give me a little alert and say, so if someone calls you and says, door 1 won't open, what's going on? You can log on to their software and go, well, it's showing that you have a disconnected reader at door 1. Did anything out of the ordinary happen, a power surge or anything like that? And that's a quick way to see it. Errors are anything that, errors and warnings are anything that's happened. For instance, an error would be card number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tried to get into this door and they're not a valid user. We don't know who they are. Or pin number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tried to get in at this time. We don't know who they are. They tried a few times. Or a door was forced open. Those are all shown here in the warnings and errors. It will also show you when your battery backup is low. So for instance, on this system, we don't have a battery backup. So the first error we will see once we've registered all of our stuff in the software is low battery, which is basically telling us you don't have a battery backup. So we'll tell you when your battery is getting low. It tells you doors that are left open and unlocked and blocked doors. So if I had some doors that were left open, I could actually just click on that and then close the door from here. And then on the left-hand side, this is our navigation menu. Again, this software is extremely user-friendly for not just the integrator, but also the end user. So let's go ahead and dive in, and I'm going to show you now the first steps that you will take as the integrator to get Prima installed. So I've got Prima on, let's say, 2 doors. I'm using the TCP/IP version, so it's in my IT room. I've got 2 card readers connected to door 1 and door 2. And now I've opened the software and it's showing me total doors is 0. Well, that's not right because I know I have 2 readers connected. So now we're going to show you the steps. So the first step that you're going to take, and remember, don't feel too much pressure to remember all this because this is being recorded and sent to you guys after. So the first step I'm going to take is I'm going to go to Locations and Hardware. The Locations and Hardware section is the area where you have access to manage the brains of the central. So like we said, the centrals are at the door and all the information is stored in that central. We need to be able to have access to change those settings. That is always found in Locations and Hardware. I will now come down to Manage Hardware. And then I'm going to click on Manage Centrals. Don't pay attention to Manage Offline Readers for the time being. I'll click on Manage Centrals. And now you can see that it's showing me, okay, I've got Alpha. It's online, and it's an Alpha 2, which means a 2-door controller. The software update, this is the software version that we have, and it's telling me right here, this is important, this central is the master central, which means if you log into any other central and put updates on any other central, if there's more on this network, they won't be pushed out because they're not the master. This one will push out all updates to every other central on the network, and then it's showing you your IP address and all of those things. So we can change this name. I'm not going to right now, but you can change this name to whatever you want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Settings. And when I click on my settings, I am now in the section where I control everything that the central is controlling. So this is a two-door controller. So because it's a two-door controller, it's going to pop up two little doors right here. If it's a four-door, it'll pop up four doors. It's telling me it's online. And then what I'm going to do is, because you can see here that all of the statuses of the doors, the door monitor, and the request to exits are red, showing me that they're not connected at this time. So the first thing you'll do is you're going to click on Search Readers. And I'm going to go ahead and search readers, and now this is doing it all on its own. It's going out and it's finding what's connected to it. So it's saying, okay, on door 2, I've got a Nexus M reader. And on door 1, I've got a Nexus MK card reader keypad. And so then I'm going to click Add and Add. And you can see that behind this window there was some stuff happening. Now, it'll always show 4 doors just because that's what it defaults to, but it knows I only have 2 readers connected. And it's going to update this configuration now because we have just found some card readers. And then we'll give it a minute to do that. Okay, so now you can see we have the same page that we've seen here. We've got the Alpha Door 1 and the Alpha Door 2, but you can see now here we've got readers, okay, showing our reader at door 1 and our reader at door 2. Now, this is probably one of the most important steps of setting it up, is that now this is where you're going to go in and say, okay, I want to give this door these parameters to do this and to read this and those sort of things. So I'm going to check here and I'm going to say, okay, this reader is enabled, so it's working. The status of this reader is online. This reader name, I'm just going to leave it, but you could click here and change it to whatever you want. So let's say you changed it to front door. This is the front entrance. And the reader type, which is autofill, this is an Nexus MK, which is our card reader keypad for the RS-485. It's connected to door 1, and then the RS-485 address is 9. Don't really ever worry about this because this autofills. Now, if I click on Advanced Settings, that all looks good to me right now, but I'm going to click on Advanced Settings because I want to show you control here of what's going on. So let's say you have the reader connected to door 1, but you don't want it to connect to you don't want it to open door 1, you want it to open door 2. You can change it if you ever wanted to. So you can connect to, I don't know why you ever would, but you can say reader 1 open door 2 and reader 2 open door 1. You can change it to whatever you want. This setting does come in handy when we have the Wiegand converter, because like I mentioned, each Wiegand converter has 2 Wiegand inputs for 2 card readers or 2 receivers or 2 whatever it is. And so when you come in here, the Wiegand converter is plugging into the RS-485 bus on the central, and it will show you a Wiegand converter that has 2 card readers plugged into it. This is where you'll come in and say, okay, I want the card reader 1 to open door 2, and I want card reader 2 to open, I want card reader 1 to open door 1, and I want card reader 2 to open door 2, even though neither card reader is connected to door 2. So it's kind of just handy to have that. You can also then say, is this an entry or an exit door or a pass-through? You can change that. You can change the tamper sensitivity. A same card timeout, so the same card won't read again until the timeout is done. So if someone, it's detailed anti-pass back, so I can't show my card, hand it to my buddy behind me, and they can get in right after me. You can set that off. And then the pin length, you can say, okay, if I want a 10-digit pin length, you can have that without pressing pound at the end or the check mark at the end on our card reader, or you can say, I want them to have to press the check mark, so keep that 0. So just a ton of functionality in here. To be honest with you, most installs we've done, we never touch this. We will sometimes set the card timeout, but none of this other stuff is too important. Okay, then you can come down here to the actual door. And again, you can switch between the readers. You'll see one is door 1 and one is door 2, and you can switch between those readers and change those settings. And then I'll come down here to the door. So I've got 2 doors, one with card reader 1 and one with card reader 2. And I can change all of the settings down here. So the electric lock open time defaults to 3 seconds. You can change that to 6 hours if you wanted to. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can. So I'm going to keep it at, I'm just going to set it to 2 seconds. The allowed door open time before it will set off an alarm is 10 seconds. You can change that. The door open warning duration before alarm goes off. So let's say that door, I've got the door hold open time set to 10 seconds. The door's been hold open for 15 seconds. How long will it warn me before an actual alarm goes off? So I'm saying warn me for 10 seconds so I can get here and shut it off before it sets off the alarm. And that's what that setting is for. You can set silent warning in alarms, door force detection, silent mode, all of these things. Electric lock open voltage, you can do high or low. It's usually we always use it on high. The request to exit input, the door monitor active voltage level, and then you can set your automatic door open schedule, which I'll show you how to do here in a minute because we haven't set up any groups. But that will say hold the door open, automatically open the door at 8 a.m. Or automatically unlock the door at 8 a.m., automatically lock the door at 5:30 p.m. You can set that schedule. So that's all done here. Again, doors 1 and 2 for a 2-door central. If it's a 4-door central, then you can change that as well. You'd have an option for 4 doors. Okay. Now you can change the names of the readers. You can change the name of your central. All of those things are done in here. So this is where I changed the name of my central, which was shown just as alpha for the time being. And this is where I changed my reader name, and then all of those will show accordingly. Now, I am going to go in and set my schedules before I add my users. And you can do that in a couple of places. So if you go in here and manage your schedules, you can do that here, but I like to go in and add a group, and then to that group, manage the schedule, and I'll show you how that's done. So this is how you're going to set, that's the basic setup for getting your readers online, which is important. The first step, getting your readers online and getting those parameters for your doors set. Okay, so I'm going to save all this. I'm not going to actually save it because I don't need to. I'll just close this. Ignore changes. Yeah, I'll ignore the changes. Now, again, this is going to be a tree of, let's say you have 5 centrals set up, and I'm in managed centrals if you remember. That would show all of your centrals here, as many as you have, and then you can click on each of them and go in their settings to change the door settings like we've just done. Now an important thing to know is if you're doing a remote location, let's say you've got a business, you're doing a business that has 3 different buildings. And all 3 of those, let's say they have a building in Salt Lake City, Utah, and a building in Orlando, Florida. Those can all be managed from one site software, which we're looking at here. And the way that is done is by going in and adding a new central. So what this has done is this has automatically found your centrals because they're all on the network. But you can manually go in, add a new central. Let's name the central the Florida office. And then you'd put in that port forwarded IP address right here. Okay, so let's say the Florida office you set up the IP address there of 192.168.0.32, and you forwarded that IP address because you need to for remote access. Then all you do is name it, you bring it in here, you change the IP address to the IP address that you've set, and you'd click add, and then that now is showing in here. So you can use this system along many different locations, and they can all communicate back to the master. Let's go in now to our users and groups. Again, please stop me if there are any questions. Let me know if I can. Let me know if I need to answer them for you. Okay, so you can see now this tree is starting to build. Before there was nothing here when we came into manage hardware. Now it's showing Alpha Door 1 and Alpha Door 2. And this now will be a tree that builds as our system gets bigger to show us the systems that we have. And you can see now that if I click on Alpha Door 2, I can actually open the door from here. You can see the reader status is online, the central status is online. I can unlock the door or I can block the door. You can do all of these things remotely from here. You can also, if I click here, change the settings. This will take you back to that screen we were looking at with all the settings and changes we can make to the doors. And then you can see for this door, I just want to see only the events that have happened to to door number 2. I can click here and see the only thing that's happened to door number 2 is that the reader was connected. I can see quickly which users have access and which groups have access to just this door. It's just a nice little screen to be able to show you quickly what's going on with that door. But this tree will build out as your system builds out so that customers can come in and quickly get a glance of what's going on. Now, I can add a new location. So if I click on the location and I say front door, and it will say place location under the new root level. You can see now that I'm kind of building out my tree. So for instance, what we should have done at the beginning, and I just didn't, is we should have created the location front door, and then we should have, and what I'm doing now is I'm actually moving this. So what we should have done is made the location front door, or let's say building number 1, and then our readers alpha 1 and alpha 2 would have fallen under the front door, or building. Main building would have been a better name for it. So we would have called it main building, and then alpha door 1 and alpha door 2 would have fallen under there. So if your customer comes in and goes, man, where are those readers? I've got 4 buildings set up here. Where are those readers? You can go in and say, okay, well, look at the main building, and then just kind of look at your tree from there. In the main building, you've got 2 doors connected. Now what's going on with those 2 doors? So it's just a simple way to keep track of what's going on. Okay, so now we'll go to the users and access rights. So let me know if there's any questions on that. But again, you're building out your tree to be able to show the front door, what doors are connected. You're going in and setting the rules and rights to the doors, however many doors you have, the hold open time and all of those things, and really just setting up the details and information you want for those access points. And again, that's all done in the locations and hardware. First thing you need to do is search for the readers, find those readers, and then they're online and you're able to get up and running. So now I'll go into users and access rights. And you can see that there are 2 users. Never delete these. These are your safety net if you ever forget a username or password that allows you to continue to log in. The super administrator is the highest administration level you can get. This person can add locations, can add centrals, can change that tree that we've set up over here, can do all of those things. It can delete users, whatever it wants. The system administrator can do anything it wants with users, but it cannot change or add hardware. So it can't come in and it can't mess with the tree. It can't find new readers. It can't add new readers, none of those things. So the super administrator is the one that can do those. And then a user administrator is someone that can come in and then they have limited access rights to users. Okay, so most applications, I would just give people system administration access. That will give them access to do whatever they want, but not to go in and mess with the hardware. We usually will leave super administration rights up to the integrator. You're the one who has access to that so that you can go in and add centrals or change centrals IP addresses, all of those things. We don't want to usually give that administration right to our customers. So I would always make your customers usually system administrator, keep super admin for you as the integrator. Now, the first thing I like to do, and you can do it any way you want, the first thing I like to do is to manage my groups. I like to set up all the groups that I'm going to need, and then go in and add my users and assign them a group, just like you would. So I'm going to go ahead and click Manage Groups. And you can see that there's a default group, which is all. This comes with every Prima access controller is the default group all. The default group all, let me explain the way this looks before I go into that. So you can see that we have the default group of all. All is a group, and within a group are schedules, okay? So if I go into all, and a lot of people say, well, I'll just click edit all. The only thing edit all is going to give you access to is change the name. So you'll never really need to do that. Where the important information is in every group is in the managed schedules. So you can see here that I've got my alpha door 1, my alpha door 2. The front door we won't pay attention to just because that is nothing. The important things are right here. And you've got these icons. These icons show you rights that you have to the access group all at these doors. So if I click on this door, right now this door doesn't have anything assigned to it. Nothing, no groups, no groups, which are schedules. So if I was to click on this little add button on door 1, you can see that the only schedule I have set up is in the group of all, which is 0 to 24-hour access at any day of the week, and special day and a holiday. Okay, so the all group is given to the highest person at the business that needs access all of the time, and it's already default to 0 to 24 hours any day of the week. Now, this is important. This is the action that is saying, okay, the action is open the door when any device is shown. So a valid card or a valid PIN are shown. So basically what this is saying is it's going to open the door when the boss shows his card, or if the boss types in his PIN code, it's going to open the door. So I'm not going to do anything to change this, but I'll show you what's going to happen when we set up our own group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my own group. And I'm going to call this office hours. And I'm going to go ahead and add this group. And again, adding a group, keep in mind, all you're doing if you click add a group or edit office hours is changing the name of that group. So I'm gonna now that I'm in office hours, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna manage my schedules, because this is where I need to set all of the schedules that I can give to that office hours group. So you'll see we've got the default one of 0 to 24 hours. I am going to add a new time schedule. And I'm going to call this new schedule office hours. And I'm going to say I'm going to give access from, you can use a little scroller or you can just type it in here, and it is military time. I'm going to give access from 6 a.m. until let's say 1600, so 4 o'clock. I'm going to make it, let's make it 1730, so 5:30. So we've got 1730, and you can see it's filling this out, and I'm saying I only want to give access on Monday through Friday, because these are going to be my employees, from 6 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. That's when they'll be allowed in. And I'm going to go ahead, and you can add intervals. So let's say, yes, they can. I want them to be able to access it then, and then let's say I want to add an interval which says, okay, and then they're allowed in from let's say 20 through 21 o'clock, because we've got a night shift that works. I'm going to add that interval. So they're allowed between those times. So you can go through and you can create that schedule. So now we have office hours are allowed here through that time. And now I've got 0 to 24 hours, and I've got office hours. I can also add a calendar and pull up the calendar and add dates, and I'll show you how that works. So you can add a calendar now. You would go in and add a calendar, and then you're able to scroll through and you're able to select which dates are holidays and which dates are special days that you wouldn't want to allow people access to, and you have that right. So now I've got the office hours set up, and I'm going to go ahead and click out of here. And now this is where I'm going to go in and I'm going to give rights to the doors. So let's say door 1, I'm going to click on that, and right now it doesn't have anything, any sort of schedule given to it at all. And I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to say if the person is part of the office hours group, or excuse me, well, yeah, we called it an office hour group. I'm going to click on office hours, and now I'm going to say, excuse me, I want the door to open. You can do lock if you want to. You can do unlock. You can do toggle, which will do the opposite of whatever it is. So if you want it to So the first person comes in, they show their card and unlocks the door. Then if someone else, then that person leaves, they can show their card and we'll lock the door. But I'm just going to say open. And then let's say I want them to have to do a show their card and enter a PIN in order to get in. And then I'd select that. Then I'd press save changes. And now door 1 has that ability. Now let's say door 2. If they are part of the office hours group and they enter door 2 is going to toggle, and they can get in with any device they want on door 2. And I'm going to save that. So now, excuse me, the office hours group has access to door 1 and door 2 with different functionality, which is nice. You don't have to give the same doors all the functionality. So now let's say that we want a second card read to open the door for all day long. So let's say we don't want an automatic open time. We want an employee to come in and show us card twice to the reader and unlock it. You can see if I was to go in there, let's say door 2, you can see if I select the office hours, okay, their card will work through this time, but let's say I want a second card read, and on the second card read, I want it to unlock the door. Then I can save that. So now what that means now is if they are part of the office hours group, when they go up to door 2, the only way it will open is by showing two card reads. And us, a second card is actually just holding your card for longer than 5 seconds. Then it will open up, it will unlock that door until someone locks it again, or until the automatic schedule says lock. So there's tons of functionality, and I could spend 9 hours going through everything you can do in the groups. But the groups are very, very detailed, and you can do a lot in them. So now I'm saying, okay, that's part of my office group. I've now set my rules for door 1 and door 2 of the office group, and I can actually go down here and I can see, if I click on that little arrow, that the second door has the office hours. It will toggle on any read. So we gave it 2 parameters on door 2. Any card read or PIN will toggle. So it means if it's locked, it'll unlock. If it's unlocked, it'll lock. And if you show your card read twice, it will unlock the door until the door is told to lock again. So those are the rules that we've set for door 1 and office hours. In door 2 of the office hours group, we've just said open the door with a card or a PIN. Now, what I'm also going to add to this office hours is a time schedule. And I'm going to say I want this to be the automatic lock. So I've said on a second card read open my doors, and now I'm saying at 5:30 I want you to automatically lock. Monday through every day of the week, Monday through Saturday. So at 5:30 every day I want you to lock. And now we're going to have to go in and add that, but we've got at least that schedule made. Okay, so we've got our schedules that we need made. We've saved them. We've got our rules written for that door. You can see that all has not been assigned to any doors. So the all group doesn't have any rights for any doors at this moment. So what we'll do is we'll just go in and add the all group. And we'll say I want 0 to 24-hour access, any and any. Save those changes for door 1. And for door 2, I want the same rights if they're part of the all group. And I'm going to say 0 to 24-hour schedule. Save those changes. So for door 2 and door 1, if they're part of the all group, they can get in whenever they want, however they want, card or PIN that is valid. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a user. And you can import from a file. If you import from a file, like I said, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either use our import tool in the primaaccess.com website, which does away with this whole process. It is basically this, which you're seeing in an Excel spreadsheet, and then there's an upload button, and you push it, and it automatically dumps all that data into whatever IP address you've assigned it to dump the data to. So you can use that, or you can just come in here and you can import your CSV file, and then you can select which columns in those CSV files you want to go where. So for instance, I want column 1, it's not going to show me, but I want column 1 to be the first name. That way you can make sure it's giving you all of the information that you want correctly, and then it will dump it. So you can import from a file, which is good for retrofits, because if you have a retrofit system that you're ripping out and going to be putting in Prima, you can just upload, if their system allows you, upload that Excel file and then save all that information and then download it back into here, and everything will still be the same. I'm just going to add a user right now, an individual user through here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to fill out all the information that we're used to, the first name and the last name. User ID and department you can leave alone. Those are just, if the customer wants to keep some more detailed information, email address, phone number, address, all of those things. And then valid from and to. This is a nice feature that I really like. Gyms really like it. The default is, if you don't want to change it ever, it will be valid until 2032, so you don't need to mess with it. Now, you can input one PIN number for customers. So I want my PIN number to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, actually, I didn't change my info, so this is a 4-digit PIN number. But again, you can change this in the settings that we were looking at to be up to 20 digits long if you want. And then each user can have up to 8 cards. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then my serial number is 6666. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Save. This is the first information you'll put in, then you'll get some more detailed information. So I'm going to press Save. Changes were saved. My user is in. And again, you can add up to 8 cards by just clicking these plus buttons for a user. But I don't want to do that. Now you can click Save. Now you can put in pictures if you want. And now this is where you're going to give access rights. So you'll see here, I have both groups that I've created available. And let's say I want this person to only have rights to the office hours group. It has now given office hour groups to Quinn Coford. And I can see here that if I look over here, it will show me that I have access to Alpha Door 1 and Alpha Door 2. And you can see then by clicking on the office hours and bringing this drop down. Okay, so just so I can remember, I'm giving Quinn Coford office hours, which gives him access to Door 1 through the hours I've set. It will open with a card and a PIN. And Alpha, for the second door, he has to do a second card read to unlock the office. And any card reader or PIN will toggle the lock. So that's good. That's what I wanted. And so I'm just giving him that group, but you can give him as many groups as you want. And then I can come down here to account, and I can say, I also want Quinn to have access to this software. So I'm going to make him a local administrator. Actually, I'm going to make him a system administrator because I want him to be able to change the hardware and everything, because he's my contact there and he can help me. The company he's with is Transmitter Solutions. You can fill all that out. His username and password, confirm that password, and now boom, Quinn has access to the doors at those times, and Quinn can also log into the software with his own credentials here. And that's important because you can say, okay, something in the software changed last night. What happened? Oh, Quinn was on here from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. What was he doing? And then you can call Quinn and say, why were you on here making changes? And then you'd save all that information. So we'll close all that. And now Quinn has rights to the office hours group. And then we can go in and make changes, and you can quickly see here, Quinn is not part of any department. We didn't fill that our user ID. Here's his card number. Here's his access groups. He's part of the office hours. And again, always just quick links to say, okay, what did my office hours have again? Oh yeah, I'll click on this. Oh yeah, this is what he has access to. That's Quinn's rights. That's what Quinn can do. Oh, I need to give him some more rights. I better go add a different group. And that's what you would go through and do for all of your users. Again, one cool thing in the Excel spreadsheet is that you can actually assign groups through the Excel spreadsheet. So in the Excel spreadsheet, there's a column that says groups, and you can type in the group. So you'd say Quinn's group, office hours, and it actually dumps that data in here for you automatically, so it can save you some time in the initial configuration. So that's adding groups and users. Now, remember, we set an automatic open time in our office hours schedule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to locations and hardware, which is always where we go when we want to make changes. And I'm going to click to the actual hardware. I'm going to click Manage Hardware. And I'm going to click Manage the Central because I want access to all of these. My alpha. I'm going to click on my settings. And I've said, okay, for door 1, my automatic open schedule is, I want the automatic lock schedule, and I also want that for door 2, which is saying both of these doors automatically lock at, I can't remember the time that we said, I think it was 5:30. And then we'd save that, which I won't do, and now those doors automatically lock at 5:30. So now we've gone through the user access rights and locating our readers, setting up our groups, and then doing our users, all of those very simply. And then again, we can always see what's going on. So I'm going to say, okay, door 2, what's going on with door 2? I've got my group here. Door 2, we didn't, and I've got my users, my events, and all of those things. Okay. And users and access types we've done. So now the events. The events is very basic, but nice. My events are keeping track of everything that's going on. You can search for events from a specific date and time, which is nice, but you can also search from a Google. So let's, like a Google search. So let's say I want to see Quinn. What's going on with Quinn? Okay. The only thing that's happened with Quinn is today at 11:07, an access group was assigned to the user Quinn. Okay, that's good to know. And you can search, let's say, door 1. You can see the reader was connected at door 1, and you can just see everything that's going on. So it's a very simple tool. You can also do an events report, which will give you a log in a PDF version of that report that you're looking at. So you can see that, which is nice, and print it off for your customers. Again, the whole idea behind this software was to allow a simple user interface for our customers. Now we'll go home and we'll again see everything that's going on. Everything still looks good. It's going to refresh, and it will show us now we have 2 doors, 2 users in the system, 71 events because we refreshed that. Now if we go into the settings, one of the important things to know here as an installer is that we will always have updates. We like updates. Updates means we're thinking and we're growing and we're coming up with new things. But you will never have to change out your hardware, and the updates are not going to cost you money. And that's important because, for instance, this Wiegand update that we will have, which will allow for a 5-digit serial number and 3-digit facility code, all that is going to be is in the settings section under add-ons and modules. You will come in here and you will type in the activation key we'll give you, and then you'll click add. Any updates will be emailed out to our customer base, and usually your sales rep will contact you and let you know, and then they'll be put on our website to let you know of any updates. Your customers can do it. It's so easy. All they do is come to settings, add on to modules. They'll put the number in that we give them. They'll click add, and then it's going to go through. It usually takes between 2 to 4 minutes, but it's going to go through an update to that new configuration or system or add-on or whatever it is we've done, and then it will be operating the same exact way with the same exact information, just updated with the update that we have. So that's extremely nice. You don't have to worry about expensive updates or hard updates to manage or anything like that. It's all very easy. In the settings tab, you can just simply see the account type, all of these things, the passwords, usernames, all of those type of things. And then you can see in the advanced, kind of just where you can back up your files. You can upload files. You can automatically have the database back up if you want to. Your web server ports, if you ever need to change that. Time zones, maintenance contact, upgrade software and firmware. All of these things are just found in the settings, which you will not really access all that often, but when you do, it's easy and it's in a simple way to be able to see it. Okay, so that is the software. That's the ins and outs of the software, and we think it's very basic, but also detailed enough to give customers the type of information, use the integrator, the type of information that will allow you to sell the system and have happy customers. Now, I also wanted to show you what the app version of it looks like. And so what I will do is refresh my page. And I'm going to click on Start Nova Drive. And again, anybody who didn't hear, this is the app. I'm going to log in. And again, I'm looking at this on a computer, so you guys can pull it up in our demo software. You can pull it up on your phones to see it, but I'm pulling it up on the computer. So you can see here, it's widget based, which means no point in zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on monitoring just so you can kind of see the way that it's set up. And then in monitoring, so each area has some different things. You can look at your events, which if I click on events, you'll see it's going to look. Again, right now it looks a little funny because it's not on a phone, it's on a computer. But you'll see it's all the same type of information that you're looking at that we saw in the computer. It's just very easy. You can go to your locations and hardware. And again, you can see all here. It's going to be all ready for your phone and looking nice on your phone, even though it may look a little different here. But all of the same information is available through the widgets and through the very simple to use phone app. And again, you can see I can come in here and look at my users, look at my time schedules, look at my groups, and I can edit and change anything I want. So you can unlock and block doors. I've got Quinn in there, you can see, and you can add users and all of those things, all from this simple to use phone application, which will work on any smartphone because we didn't designate it to the App Store. You don't have to buy it. It's when you open up your software, you choose either, oh yeah, I'm on a computer or I'm on a phone or tablet. And then you have the same functionality, just made to look the way it should for either the computer or the tablet. So that is the software. Again, just a quick recap, and I hope this has helped. Again, I can sit here and show you things all day long, but really the thing is to get one installed. And now that you know that you need to search for your readers and find your readers, once those are found and you've set your door settings, then you're really good to go. Set up your groups, add your users, and then you're good. Those are the most important steps. But just to recap for anybody who came in late, we have the PrimaAccess.com website where you will have access to the demo software that you can try, the discovery tool for initial setup of the IP address of the access controller, and then your tools, the Prima card converter, which will be obsolete within the next 3 weeks to a month, and the Prima user import tool, which is a great tool, a really, really easy to use tool for importing customer lists and names. So I've got all of those. Again, the first steps are opening the discovery tool, changing the IP address to an open IP address. If you want remote access, to port forward that. And then to go in, locations and hardware, find your readers. Once you find your readers, then to go in and set the door settings to whatever settings you want. And then go in and add your user groups, create your users, assign them their groups and their rights and all of those things, and then you're ready to go. So very simple. Again, this is the first training for Prima Premier certification. We will keep a list of all who attended. And when you attend your second one, you'll get the certification to receive 5+ quantity pricing. And extremely good tech support and all of those perks that will come with it. So what I want to do now is I want to answer all of your questions and make sure you guys feel comfortable with this. We do have Prima in stock on our shelves ready to be shipped and ready to go. We have them installed. Again, testing has been going on for 3 or 4 years. This is not something that we're just barely crossing our fingers hoping will work. It works. It's a solid product. It's installed. So let's go ahead and raise your hand if you want to ask the question verbally, and I'll unmute you, or just go ahead and type it into the box. So it looks like I've got a question. Alfred asked if we can get pricing. Yes, we will email pricing out to all who attended the webinar today. You will receive an email with pricing, and that will show 1 to 5 quantity pricing and 5+. Now, keep in mind, again, in the pricing, and Alfred, thanks for the question, is the pricing that you will see is going to break down to either metal can or plastic, metal housing or plastic housing, and the amount of rows that you want for the DIN rail. You can specify all those things in there. And then there's also an area for higher security, which is our RS-45 card reader keypad line, and our lower security is what we call it, which is Wiegand, with the credentials there. We also have on a second page of that price list, which will receive prices on mag locks, strikes, request to exits, all of those things for full installation that you would need. Okay, we got another question here. Do you have manuals on your website? Yes, we do. Under specifications, they should be there. If they're not, we will be adding them. We have a couple really good manuals. We have a quick install guide, which will walk you through just getting in and out of the job for the basic needs that they need. We've got a very detailed Nova Pro software guide, which will walk you through anything you need to do in there, and then the wiring diagram. So if those aren't on there, our web developer will get those on today, and we'll make sure those are up there. But they would be under specifications, or yeah, they'd be under specifications. Let's actually look to see if they're here. We'll look in just a minute, but yes, we will have those. Do we sell the batteries? If not, what size to fit inside case? We do sell the batteries. It can take up to a 7 amp hour battery. The 7 amp hour battery will not fit inside the plastic housing. It will fit inside the metal housing. So the size that we recommend for the plastic housing is a 2.1 amp hour battery, which is not that big, but you can get bigger plastic housing. So in our basic plastic housing unit, a 2.1 amp hour battery will fit, and we can sell that. In our bigger units, a 7 amp hour battery will fit. So you can just kind of pick and choose what you want. Do we have any demo kits? Yes, we will have demo kits. We're doing demo kits a little bit differently. We will have it's basically a kit that we've put in one of those hard metal briefcases that we will send out. And the way the demo kit works is you'll have 2 weeks that you can play with it and mess around with it and kind of figure it all out, and then send it back. If not sent back within 2 weeks, you will be billed for it. But it's a nice demo kit. It gives you the functionality and access that you need for it. Again, if you want to ask a question, feel like it's too much to type, feel free to raise your hand and I'll call on you. Robert, looks like you have your hand raised. Okay, Robert, go ahead and ask your question when you're ready.
Are you going to have different NEMA boxes or those plastic boxes? And also reports. How do you do the reports?
Okay, good questions. Yes, we do have a NEMA rated IP, now that you asked, I can't remember. It is an outdoor weatherproof, waterproof case. We will have that option. So you'll have the indoor plastic housing, the indoor metal housing, and also a NEMA rated outdoor housing for gate installations or just anything outside. Yeah, we will have that option. So you'll have those 3 options on the price list you'll get. And then reports are done. The way reports are done in the software, if I log back in, okay, so if you log into the software, whoops, wrong password. There's a couple ways you can run reports. So if I go into events, the events tab is our reports tab. You can do one of 2 things. You can either look at the reports here, and then you can, if you click events report, then it's going to give you a PDF of all of these reports, or you can say, give me a report on this date from the 5th at 12 a.m. to the 6th, search reports, and then it will pop up all of those reports that have happened at that time. This is the way that you can mass search for everything going on. So this is every user, every edition, everything would be in this by searching it here for specific dates, and then you could download the PDF, or you could search it here for specific ones. You can also go into users and access rights, and if you click on a user and click edit user, I can come in here and I can see the latest events for that specific user and what they've done. So a couple ways to do it. Does that answer your question, Robert? Okay. What other questions do we have? Yes, the software will eventually accommodate cameras, Sam. Right now, it does accommodate one camera. It's not a live feed. It's a camera that we can offer you if you really need it. The only reason we did it is because there are some people that really want one. The camera that we sell you wouldn't be a live feed. It can record, like if someone shows you can set a rule that if someone shows their card reader, it takes a picture. If someone shows their card to the card reader, it'll take a picture of them and save that information. But we are working on having it accommodate all sorts of cameras down the road. So yes, it will. Joe, what does port forward mean? Port forward is it's an IT term that is basically saying, for now, the IP address that I've been using is 192.168.0.31. That's the IP address I've been using as I've shown you this software. That is a static IP address within the network at my company. That means that if you, Joe, went on your computer right now into the internet and typed in that IP address, nothing would pop up because it's specific to my network, my local area network. Port forwarding means that I am pushing that IP address out to public access, meaning, Joe, if I was to port forward that IP address, you could then go on to Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, type in that IP address, and then the Nova software login page would appear. You then obviously have to have your credentials to sign in, but then anybody could access that IP address from anywhere. So it's just opening that for remote access. And anytime we've ever done it, we've just had the company just usually call their IT guy and say, can you give me an open port forwarded IP address? They give them the IP address. You put it into the discovery tool and you're good to go. Any other questions? Please feel free to ask as many as you need. We want you to feel comfortable with this. Again, it's not a hard system, but we want you to feel comfortable because new systems are always, installing something new is different. Anything anybody wanted more detail on, or any specific questions for jobs you have? When will the demo cases be available? The demo case will be available starting on Monday. This coming Monday, we'll have those available. We'll probably have 2 or 3 that we'll send out. So if you want one, contact your sales rep and we'll get it sent out to you, get you on the list to get it sent out to. And that way you can have it in your hands and see it and play with it a little bit more. So yeah, Monday, the demo case will be available. And I was just informed that the manuals are up on the website. All the manuals we have are up on the website. We've got a question from Pat. Have you demoed it with automatic doors involved yet? Pat, can you explain that to me a little bit more? Yes, it would work, Pat. Yeah, we have demoed it on automatic doors. It works fine. You do, like I mentioned, there is an additional relay on each controller, which has the normally open common and normally closed input, that you can use that for whatever you want. So if your operator needs a normally closed relay or normally open relay, you can tie it in directly to that. You could also put a receiver on the door that would allow you to, you could tie that into a receiver, which you could plug into our controller. So yeah, it can definitely be done with automatic doors. Definitely. Any other questions? We're actually done with this training. The next Prima training will go more in depth on some other things, some widgets that we offer, and some add-ons that we offer for it. But this was just kind of to get you comfortable with an initial install. Was there any questions on any of the wiring or anything like that? Y'all feel pretty comfortable with that, I'm assuming. Well, we appreciate everyone coming. I'm not seeing any more questions. We're grateful all of you came. We look forward to doing business with you and getting some of the Prima access controllers installed and in your hands so you can let us know what you think. Again, pricing will be sent out. Manuals are on the website. The demo software is available on our website, and those demo kits will be available on Monday. Please feel free to stay and ask as many questions if you want. If not, the official training is over. You'll be getting some sort of initial certification emailed to you as well, so we can keep track of that. Carlos asked a question, can a receiver with a Wiegand output work with Prima? Yes, definitely. We've actually done this numerous times where we put a Wiegand receiver in our Prima controller, and then the controller is, let's say, wired up to an automatic gate. Then the customer comes out, pushes their transmitter, and then it will track the transmitters going in and out. Same way, a transmitter would be input the same way we input cards, because it's a 3-digit facility code, 5-digit serial number. But yes, it definitely works with the Wiegand output receiver. And any frequency of that matter. If you guys have any, if we didn't get to your questions or you want to see something in more detail, please email us, email your sales rep, and we're happy to go through this one-on-one with you. We're happy to talk to, if you've got installers out there who want to see it, I'm happy to go one-on-one with them or your company to show it to them individually if they weren't able to attend. This will be recorded and put on our website, so you can watch it there. So yeah, just like I said, feel free to keep asking questions or log off, because the training the training part of it is actually ended. Yes, we will be emailing the price list. We're just making some final additions to it, adding the metal and the NEMA housings, and that will be sent out most likely on Monday as well. I'd plan on Monday for the demo kit availability and the full price list, which will show all your housing options. Thanks everyone for attending again. I'll just keep mentioning, I'm here for questions if you need them, or you can feel free to log off.